Good afternoon. This is an audience with a Pope, Anthony Pope, not to be confused with Pope Francis. Elisa, my partner, law partner, she's here as well. What we want to talk about today is the Supreme Court decision involving the Second Amendment, something that's been controversial now since as long as I can remember. There's those folks who think everybody should carry a gun, and then there's those folks that think nobody should carry a gun. Well, the United States Supreme Court made a very interesting decision, and what it determined is that in New York, where the lawsuit was ultimately originated from, that the qualifications, the conditions under which a judge can allow someone to carry a weapon, not purchase it, but carry it, were too restrictive. So they then reversed the decision, the law of New York, in that you can't use that criteria anymore. A person does not have to show anymore that there's some incredible need for it, i.e. that they were threatened at some point or they've been beat up 17 times, that now they need a gun. All you have to really show is something far less than that. What do you think?
And here in New Jersey, we always refer to it as compelling reasons, and a lot of
Right.
states use that terminology. So basically what this new ruling has done is it's eliminated the need for individuals to show compelling reasons. If they can qualify to carry a firearm, they no longer need to meet that burden, which was a high burden. I can tell you here in New Jersey that it was near impossible to get a carry permit.
You know, I can remember a client asking at one point, you know, can I get a permit to carry a gun? And I said, well, why? What's your need?
Right.
And I said, listen, you got a better chance of winning the lottery than you do of some superior court judge granting you the right to carry a concealed weapon. It's just not going to happen. But now that's different. That's different. And it seems like, you know, from what I'm hearing, a lot of people now are applying in New Jersey. I mean, I thought of doing it myself, even though I don't like guns. Just the idea of allowing being able to exercise the Second Amendment. You know, it would just be a victory on paper. I'm certainly really not that inclined to be carrying a gun. But I think it's an interesting decision. So I'd love to know what the public thinks. I mean, I've seen some, testings around. And I think it's split, like pretty much like the country is on everything,
We were talking about this earlier, you and I, about how the country seems to be so polarized with these issues. And it's, as attorneys, you and I can make arguments either way, but it's a difficult issue because there's been so much gun violence, especially in the United States. And I think we are probably the country in the world that has the most gun violence by far, the most murders by guns by a landslide. And so there's certainly an argument to make for more conservative gun laws. But then you have an issue like this where there are individuals that want to be able to defend not only themselves but potentially others, like in these school shooting situations.
Well, it begs the question, does it not? Are the guns, we have 300 million, I believe, guns at last count, in the hands of Americans. Is it the issue of law-abiding people that are going to carry guns that could affect the crime rate, or is it going to lessen the crime rate? There are some states where, carrying a concealed weapon like Florida or Texas, Arizona, it seems that they have less shootings, not more shootings. So where are the guns, the illegal ones, that criminals carry on the street? Are they coming from breaking into someone's home? Is it coming from trail loads of trucks that are coming up from Georgia or Alabama or one of those states that are much more liberal? I don't necessarily know the answer to that, but I think there's an argument to be made that law-abiding people carrying weapons could maybe prevent shootings. People, I guess, the carjackers are going to be a little bit reluctant if they think that everybody in New Jersey or people in New Jersey are more inclined to be carrying a weapon. Or maybe not. I really don't know. It's an interesting decision. It's new, so we're really just getting started with it. But I think the public should know that it's not a matter of everybody carrying a weapon. Please, don't go out and get a permit to buy a gun and then think you can carry it, because you can't do that. You still have to apply to the courts for permission to do it. The issue now is that the Supreme Court's decision now allows folks to have less compelling reasons. They just have to show that they're good, they have no prior record, they have no domestic violence in their background. There's a host of things in criteria, but the criteria is far less onerous than it was before this Supreme Court decision. Agreed?
Yeah, New Jersey has already followed suit. They've already eliminated the compelling reasons requirement, and as a result, as you touched on, a lot more people are applying now in New Jersey. I think the issue is going to be a lot of these school shootings are not necessarily criminals that have gotten their hands on what would be what we call a per se illegal weapon here in New Jersey. Jersey. It's individuals that otherwise had no prior record. Maybe they had some psychological issues, but they got their hands on a gun and then engaged in a mass killing. So it's not always the argument, and a lot of these mass shootings don't involve people that we would characterize as criminals until something happens in their life that triggers them and they engage in that sort of conduct. So it'll be interesting to see how states and also the court system deals with potentially trying to uncover a psychological issue that could come into play if an individual wants to carry a weapon.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Listen, we hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon. Again, an audience with a Pope, Anthony Pope.